in the industry, there is a concern that people don't understand this, and we're going to have some reasonably, I don't know how to say this in a not cruel way, a modest death event, something the equivalent of Chernobyl, which will scare everybody incredibly to understand this stuff. We see the possibility. We're doing everything we can to hold this stuff and prevent it.
Eric Schmidt, the former CEO of Google and one of the most influential voices in tech, just dropped a chilling warning. We've lost control of AI. This isn't just another casual comment from a retired executive. This is one of the architects of the modern internet. Someone who helped steer one of the world's most powerful tech companies, openly admitting that artificial intelligence is racing ahead faster than our ability to contain it. So what does that actually mean? And more importantly, what happens when the very risks he's talking about aren't just locked inside computer servers and data centers, but embodied in humanoid robots walking around our world, in factories, in homes, in hospitals, and even on the battlefield? That's where things go from concerning to potentially catastrophic. Let's break down Schmidt's warnings, look at real-world robot settings where they apply, and ask the question, what happens when AI is no longer just software, but has legs, arms, and the ability to act in our physical environment? Schmidt's first key warning is about misuse. AI is a tool, and like any powerful tool, it doesn't just enable good, it amplifies bad actors too. We've already seen this in the digital world. Deepfakes used for scams, AI-written malware, automated phishing campaigns that are scarily convincing. But imagine the same principle applied to humanoid robots. In a factory setting, AI misuse might mean a competitor hacks into an autonomous manufacturing robot, causing it to sabotage assembly lines or quietly steal proprietary designs. In a hospital, a misused medical robot could falsify data or even physically mishandle patients. In a home, a hacked service robot could quietly record private conversations or surveil movements. And in defense, a misused humanoid robot could cross from support roles into autonomous combat without any human authorization. This is the leap we need to recognize. Software misuse already costs billions in fraud and damages reputations daily. But robots take that misuse into the physical domain. They don't just manipulate information, they manipulate the world around us. And once that's possible, the stakes rise exponentially. The second danger Schmidt highlights is speed. In his words, AI systems scale faster than institutions, laws, or social norms can adapt. When a new capability appears, it spreads globally in months or even weeks, while regulators spend years debating what to do. We saw this with ChatGPT. Within 6 months of launch, it was embedded into search engines, office software, coding tools, and creative apps. No law anywhere had time to catch up. Now apply that same breakneck pace to humanoid robots. Picture a logistics company rolling out 10,000 warehouse robots across the globe, each controlled by rapidly evolving AI. If a flaw is discovered, say a vulnerability that lets them all misinterpret commands or share false data, it's not one robot failing, it's an entire global fleet breaking down simultaneously. Or in homes, imagine affordable humanoid robots hitting mass consumer markets within 5 years. Millions could be deployed before safety regulations exist. By the time lawmakers scramble to respond, these robots would already be deeply integrated into society, learning behaviors, storing sensitive household data, and making themselves indispensable. The scaling risk Schmidt talks about isn't just hypothetical. It's happening right now with software AI, and when humanoid robots become mainstream, scaling too fast without proper guardrails could turn local glitches into global crises overnight. Another one of Schmidt's blunt warnings. Even when rules exist, they're often too weak, too vague, or simply ignored in practice. Think about the early internet. There were privacy rules, but companies bent them, dodged them, or simply moved faster than enforcement. Now apply that same pattern to robotics. In a hospital setting, there may be rules about patient safety, but what happens when an AI-powered surgical robot is rushed into deployment because it saves costs, even if its failure rate isn't fully understood? In defense, rules about autonomous weapons exist, but countries can quietly ignore them if they feel falling behind would risk national security. What Schmidt is saying is clear. Even when regulations look good on paper, enforcement rarely keeps pace with real-world incentives. And here's the scariest part. With humanoid robots, ignoring the rules isn't just a matter of data being leaked or misinformation spreading. It's machines with arms, legs, and real physical impact being let loose without oversight. That's a very different order of risk. Let's pause here to draw a sharp line. The harms caused by software-only AI are already significant. These include the spread of misinformation, the generation of malicious code, the manipulation of markets, and the theft of data. Each of these issues is serious in its own right, but they remain confined to the digital realm. When the same intelligence is embodied in humanoid robots, the nature of harm changes dramatically. Suddenly, risks are no longer limited to screens or servers. Safety failures become possible, such as a care robot dropping a patient or an industrial robot mishandling heavy equipment. Deception takes on a new dimension, with robots that appear to act as helpful assistants while secretly surveilling or misleading those who trust them. Autonomy itself becomes dangerous when a robot misinterprets a command and acts independently in ways that humans neither expected nor intended. Even data leaks take on a new weight when the information exposed reveals not just files and passwords, but private details of physical life. When you are home, where you keep valuables, or how your daily routines unfold. The transition from software harm to embodied harm is like moving from a cyber attack to an armed break-in. The risks do not simply multiply in scale, they transform in nature. They shift from the intangible world of data into the tangible reality of human safety, privacy, and trust. So what does all this add up to? If Schmidt is right, and the evidence suggests he is, then we need to anticipate the likely failure modes of humanoid robots before they scale out of control. Safety failures. Robots could physically harm people through malfunctions or bad design. Think of an industrial humanoid carrying heavy machinery that slips, or a care robot that doesn't recognize a medical emergency. Deception. Robots could be programmed or hacked to lie about what they're doing. Imagine a home robot that says it's helping but is secretly uploading private video streams to an external server. Autonomy gone wrong. AI systems sometimes hallucinate or make unexplainable decisions. If a humanoid robot interprets an instruction incorrectly, it could cause physical chaos. Data leaks. Robots embedded in daily life will be data sponges. They'll know routines, preferences, health details, financial information. If that data leaks or is sold, the consequences are massive. These aren't distant hypotheticals. Each failure mode already has analogs in the software world today. The difference is, once humanoid robots enter the mainstream, the cost of failure won't just be financial or reputational. It will be physical, immediate, and potentially irreversible. So if Schmidt is warning that we've lost control, what can we actually do to regain some of it? Especially before humanoid robots take off? Kill switches. Every robot, no matter how advanced, must have a guaranteed off switch that overrides autonomy instantly. Not just software level, but hardware level. Operational limits. Robots should have strict domain restrictions. A hospital care robot shouldn't be able to connect to the internet without oversight. A defense robot shouldn't be able to operate outside designated zones. Audits and logs. Every action a robot takes should be logged and auditable. If something goes wrong, there must be a record showing why. Think black boxes for robots, just like airplanes. Slow rollouts. Scaling too fast is a recipe for disaster. Any deployment of humanoid robots should happen gradually, with testing in controlled environments before mass adoption. Independent oversight. Not just company-led safety checks, but third-party audits with real enforcement power. Otherwise, the temptation to bend rules for profit will always win out. These guardrails sound basic, but history shows us that without clear mandates, companies will cut corners to win the race. Schmidt's warning is essentially, we don't have time to wait until after the fact. Eric Schmidt's words shouldn't be dismissed as fear-mongering. They should be read as a wake-up call from someone who has watched firsthand how quickly powerful technology can spiral out of control. His three warnings, misuse, scaling too fast, and weak rules, aren't just abstract concepts. They map directly onto the world of humanoid robots, where each risk is amplified by the fact that AI is no longer just virtual, but physical. Factories, hospitals, homes, defense, these are the domains where humanoid robots are already being tested and, in some cases, deployed. The line between science fiction and reality is blurring, and with it, the potential consequences of failure. Software AI can harm our information ecosystem. Humanoid AI robots can harm our physical world. That's the distinction Schmidt is pointing us toward, even if he doesn't say it outright. The bottom line is this: AI is outpacing control, and humanoid robots are the next stage of that story. If we don't put guardrails in place now, before mass deployment, we risk creating a future where misuse, failure, and abuse aren't just online problems, but daily physical threats in our workplaces, hospitals, homes, and even battlefields. Eric Schmidt is right. Control has slipped. The only question left is whether we act quickly enough to reestablish it before AI-powered robots become too deeply embedded in society to manage safely. Because once robots with arms, legs, and intelligence are everywhere, the stakes won't just be high, they'll be irreversible. But warnings aside, progress isn't slowing down. In fact, the race is only accelerating. So let's look ahead at the humanoid robots set to actually shape 2026. If 2025 felt like the year humanoid robots started showing up in the headlines, 2026 is shaping up to be the year they try to actually do work in the real world. I'm going to walk you through 13 humanoid robots that matter, not just hype machines, but the bots that have the hardware, the software, the money, or the real-world deployments to change industries. First up, Tesla Optimus. You already know the name. Tesla has pushed Optimus into the spotlight as a mass manufacturing play. Their promise is simple and terrifying to some: build humanoids at scale to handle dangerous or boring work. Tesla has talked publicly about moving Optimus from prototype into pilot production, and then into factory floors in increasing numbers. That's huge because Tesla has the manufacturing muscle to actually try to make robots in quantity, which is something most robotics startups only dream of. But the road isn't smooth. There have been leadership changes, design reworks, and skeptical press about meeting ambitious unit goals. Still, whether Tesla falls short of the most breathless timelines or not, the fact that one of the world's largest manufacturers is pouring R&D and factory know-how into a humanoid program means Optimus will be at the center of the 2026 conversation. Next, Figure's lineup deserves its own spotlight. Figure's FEO2 already gave the world a glimpse of humanoids doing dexterous tasks. Think sorting, fine manipulation, and operations in constrained home-like spaces. And the company's roadmap for a production-ready Figure 03 is one of the most aggressive commercial plays out there. The CEO has signaled that F03 is walking, and that Figure intends to move fast on hiring and production ramp. Between impressive dexterity demos and very public plans to ship at scale, Figure is arguably the biggest challenger to Tesla in the humanoid arms race. If Figure nails reliability, price, and safety, its robots could flood logistics and retail in 2026 and beyond. Ameca occupies a very different but equally important part of the ecosystem. Engineered Arts built Ameca to be the face of robotic-human interaction. It's not here to lift tons or run a warehouse. It's here to talk, emote, and interact in public-facing roles: museums, events, reception desks, and experimental care settings. Ameca's uncanny facial expressiveness and conversational capabilities make it the social humanoid everyone points to when they talk about what robots will look like in public spaces. In 2026, expect Ameca and platforms like it to be the first humanoids people actually meet in everyday places. And that will accelerate both fascination and debate about trust, privacy, and ethics. Boston Dynamics Atlas is a special category. It's the gymnastics superstar of humanoids. Atlas keeps pushing the physical limits of what a bipedal machine can do, running, balancing through rough terrain, and executing complex whole-body maneuvers. Boston Dynamics has been steadily migrating those skills into more robust perception stacks and real-world motion policies, often partnering with companies like NVIDIA to give Atlas stronger on-robot vision and decision-making. Atlas isn't the cheapest bot you'll buy, but in 2026, it will likely be the one you see used for disaster response, research, and demonstrations of how fast a humanoid can actually adapt in an unpredictable environment. When headlines talk about humanoids doing parkour or rescue work, Atlas is the reason. Agility Robotics Digit is the pragmatic sibling in this group. Digit has been designed for logistics and warehouse support. It's compact, purpose-built, and already field-tested in real facilities. The company has been improving its battery life, safety features, and integration with existing warehouse automation systems, which means Digit is the kind of humanoid that employers might actually bring onto a shift to handle repetitive tasks that weren't worth automating before. In 2026, Digit will be in workplaces where reliability and standards compliance matter more than flashy demos. Unitree is another name to watch because of how it scales lower-cost robotics. Unitree's move into humanoids, with G-series teasers and more affordable platform goals, could democratize access to full-size humanoids. Think the difference between luxury, research-grade robots, and affordable, serviceable humanoids that smaller businesses can buy. If Unitree hits aggressive price and supply targets, they'll be the company forcing the market to reckon with what happens when humanoids stop being curiosities and start being tools you can actually budget for. Neura's 4, Anyone Gen 3, and similar next-gen humanoids are important for a different reason. They represent the commercialization and safety-first approaches that regulators and enterprise buyers demand. When a platform like Neura emphasizes safe, predictable behavior and developer tooling, it becomes the backbone for mission-critical deployments, hospitals, elder care, and controlled industrial settings where human safety and fail-safes are non-negotiable. The robots that rule 2026 won't be the ones that are fastest to market. They'll be the ones enterprises can trust to behave predictably day in, day out. Fourier GR series, GR3 and siblings pushes the care-centered social companion angle. Fourier Intelligence's GR line focuses on emotional interaction, multimodal sensing, and approachable design for elder care, classrooms, and service venues. These robots trade industrial strength for relational intelligence, tactile sensing, attention to expressive cues, and LLM-based dialogue tuned for empathy make the GR series a likely candidate for real social deployments in 2026, especially in Asia where Fourier has strong commercial channels. UB Tech Walker S2 is UB Tech's next-gen service humanoid aimed at retail, hospitality, and consumer applications. Walker S2 continues UB Tech's focus on safe, user-facing interaction, along with improvements in robustness and autonomy. UB Tech leverages a global market reach and experience building humanoids for education and entertainment. Walker S2 is the company's move to bridge those strengths into more functional, serviceable bots. 1X Neo is an emerging platform focused on embodied intelligence. Tight integration of perception, manipulation, and planner stacks that leverage large multimodal models for real-time decision-making. 1X's research emphasis on real-world task transfer and a modular developer toolkit positions Neo as a contender among humanoids that must interpret messy human environments and make safe, context-aware choices. Apptronic Apollo is an industrial-grade humanoid designed around safety and human-robot collaboration. Apptronic's approach blends high-torque actuation with compliant control so Apollo can assist on manufacturing floors without sacrificing predictable interactions. Apptronic's emphasis on reliability, maintainability, and collaborative behaviors makes Apollo attractive to enterprises that need humanoid dexterity in structured production lines. Engine AI PM01, the developer's dream. In 2026, Engine AI's PM01 could rule the research and startup scene by becoming the affordable Boston Dynamics for humanoids. Its open-source ROS platform and plug-and-play AI chips make it incredibly adaptable for universities, robotics labs, and hobbyists who want to build custom capabilities without starting from scratch. The fact it's already agile enough to perform flips means it's well-positioned for complex, real-world physical tasks in factories, logistics hubs, and even entertainment. Limex Dynamics Oli, the modular workhorse. Oli could dominate 2026's commercial robotics market thanks to its modular hardware ecosystem. Imagine warehouses swapping hands for grippers, schools using expressive arms for teaching, or hospitals fitting advanced sensors for patient care. With high agility, balance, and pricing that's far below premium humanoids, Ollie can scale faster into multiple industries. Something expensive robots like Tesla Optimus may take longer to achieve. Tiangong Robot, the Endurance Champion 2026, might be the year robots stop being demo-only and start working all day, and Tiangong Ultra is proving it. Completing a 21-kilometer half marathon without mechanical failure shows it has the stamina for patrol, delivery, and search and rescue over long distances. In environments where uptime is everything, security, outdoor inspections, or even disaster zones, Tiangong's endurance will make it a top contender. And that's wrapped up. The 13 robots I'd personally bet on influencing 2026 include the big-name manufacturers with production clout, the startups with best-in-class manipulation demos, and the social platforms with the most realistic human interaction. All of them will push one another. Tesla's scale talk will force competitors to think manufacturing first. Figure's dexterity will raise the bar for manipulation. Ameca will shape public expectations of what social robots should feel like, and Atlas will continue to redefine the athletic limits of humanoids. So that's the lineup of humanoid robots I think will shape 2026 in the real world.